Coach Sam Shweisky, thank you for taking time with us at Off the Block blog, especially since you're preparing for the play-in match tomorrow, Thursday night at Barton. Let's go back to last Saturday. How did the team react to winning their first EIVA tournament title in 21 years?
Yeah, it was a really special weekend. It's been a special season to go 13-1 and to, in a really tough league and a lot of 5-set matches and, it's really competitive play across the league. To somehow have the opportunity to host the championship was just unbelievable, something that we were so thankful and appreciative to do. And to have all the teams come in and to really feel like any of those 4 teams could have come out and won that thing. It was such a competitive field. It was really, really special. And to have an incredible, historic, mammoth 5-set drag-out match with Penn State. It was just beautiful volleyball down to the 5th set, 15-13 in the 5th. It really couldn't have been scripted better. It was amazing. And we had a packed house with a ton of Princeton alums and people that have meant a lot to our program over the years. And it was funny. I was hanging out with Jonah May, one of our setters from a couple of years ago, and earlier in the day we had lunch, and he was saying how it was like a reunion show where all the people come back, and we had our bus driver there, our old strength coach, and Buffalo alumni, and it was really, really fun. And yeah, to win was amazing. It was awesome. It was just a really special, exciting moment, and didn't have that much time to really reflect on it because that was Saturday, and by Sunday afternoon we saw the selection that we were headed to North Carolina, and we had to plan and get flights and get ready to go and watch film and kind of go. So we're just kind of in go mode and just taking it one step at a time. But we've had a few minutes here and there to reflect. It was a really special weekend.
You took the next question out of my mouth. How long do you let them celebrate? But let's go back to that 5th set. How nervous were you, and what ultimately turned the tide in the Tigers' favor?
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. There was a certain point actually going into the 5th set, I just kind of felt like the bus was heading in the right direction, and the guys were kind of driving the bus, and the energy was there, and it was great volleyball. And, Pat and I had obviously done some adjustments and tactical things, but at a certain point you get into a 5th set, and it's like, okay, guys, go do it. Go have fun and go enjoy and, be in the moment. And, there wasn't a lot at that point late in the 5th set to kind of adjust. I mean, Brett Wildman for Penn State was playing fantastic, and, we knew he was going to get the ball a bunch. It's like, all right, let's see if we can try to slow down 1 or 2 of these swings and see what we can do. But, luckily the ball bounced our way, and it was a special night.
Let's talk about your players. Everybody knows about George Human, the EIVA Player of the Year. Tell us, obviously we know about his kills and his hitting percentage and all those great accolades. What is something that we don't know about George that really makes him special?
Well, I don't know how much people know about George, but I think his temperament is often seen as he's not one of the guys that will jump around too much and make big displays, and really get very animated. But the benefit of that is he's just so steady. He's just where he is emotionally, and he's just so locked in and dialed in all the time. And things could be going well or poorly around him, and it doesn't really matter. He's just going to bring his level. And the impressive thing that I've seen with him is we've gotten into bigger matches that really, there's a lot on the line. The bigger the moment, the better he plays. And that's the sort of the character you look for in a real champion, is that when the things get tighter and you need someone to perform, that's when he's going to be at his best. And he's just a real cool customer. Doesn't get rattled. I don't know that trash talk really has any effect on him. He just sort of shakes his head and keeps doing his thing. So he's definitely an incredible competitor, and we're super, super happy to have him on our side.
You're hoping this, obviously, tomorrow's match is not your final one, but I would be remiss if I didn't ask about the senior class with the likes of Kendall and Corey. What makes this senior class so special?
Yeah, this senior class is really special. They've been here for a long time, and they've poured a lot into this program, whether it's through hours of training and mentorship of the younger guys, and all of them have been through their own long stories to get here, and then they've all been through their physical ailments. I think it's hard to play a full volleyball career and not walk away with some dings and bruises and a bunch of them have braces and this and that. They both spend time in the training room. All three of them spend time in the training room kind of getting ready for matches and stuff. So that's just, that's what someone who's been in a program a long time does to prepare for games. And they're just great role models for the young guys in terms of their integrity and how they set the tone and making the priority. And, Billy Andrews has been, finishing quotes in meetings, sort of like making sure guys are going in the right direction. And it's a special group. We had a really special senior banquet a couple weeks ago. And we're sort of looking at the season as, compartments. I think finishing that last match in Dillon, the way it ended was just so beautiful, and it's just a gorgeous little cherry on top to that EIVA season. And now we feel like this is a new opportunity. This is an NCAA opportunity that we've never had before, and we're excited for that, but we see it as kind of the next phase and the next step, and we can't wait. And these guys are certainly the ones that are leading the way.
Everybody knows that Princeton does a California trip during to start the season, but this year you did too. And on top of that, you did the tournament in Parago against BYU, Hawaii, and McKendree. How much do you feel having such a challenging non-conference schedule helped win the EIVA, and how much do you think it's going to prepare or has prepared the team for the match against Spartan?
Well, I think the more top level teams you can play, I think it's just invaluable, I think. And because a lot of those teams are not only their top level, top 10 or whatever, they are, but they're also just very different. So you play different styles and different coaching philosophies and systems, but they're just all very talented. And so we try to look at these different teams and say, oh wow, we like that. Maybe we could learn from that, or we could take that blocking system or that, attack pattern or that defensive system. And it was fantastic. And to spread it out, 2 sort of big trips in January and then the one sort of later in March, was just a really nice opportunity to kind of take a break from conference and go back out to the West and see some great volleyball. So, yeah, we think it really helped us prepare us in a lot of ways, for Barton, but also just for this phase of the tournament, And it's funny, aside from Barton and Long Beach, we've played the other 4 teams that are in the Final 7 rather, I should say. And so, or 6 outside of us. And so to have that opportunity, I just think it's really great. And so we're excited to play this weekend, and I think that experience will hopefully bode well for us.
Let's talk a little bit more about this this play-in match. Is the general feeling around the team that they feel a little bit disrespected at having to play in a play-in match, or are they just full of joy with the opportunity to advance to Long Beach next week?
Yeah, I think it's sort of like the 5 stages of grief. You go through the different stages, and I think not to say anything disparaging about Off the Block or pundits or news people in general, but I think a lot of us had read all of the projections that Vinny had put out and everything about the 437 miles, and I think we were reading and last year Harvard went straight to play at UCLA, and King went to play at Ohio State, and so I think we were having everything we had read. I think we were expecting to bypass the playing game, and so I think at first, when it first came out, we were a little bit like, hey, wait a second, that's not what we were told by people who had no control over it, and what they were surmising, and then we sort of stopped and thought about it for a minute. We're like, you know what? I'm pretty sure, Barton has a better criteria than us in a lot of scenarios, right? They have a better RPI. They have a better, win-loss record. Teams, common opponents, they beat SC and we lost to SC. And so, we kind of went down the road and it was like, I honestly think it sounds pretty fair. I think the only reason that we were frustrated is because we sort of listened to the hype that it was going to go a different way. But I honestly think that the 7 final teams and the way they were set up and organized in the bracket, I think is really very fair, was very well done. And I think once we sort of got to that point, I think we were just really sort of humbled and excited with the opportunity to come do this. And we're also used to this, like taking an hour and a half flight. We play more away games than we do home games, so jumping on a flight and coming down here for an hour and a half to a gym like this is not an uncommon thing for us, and so we feel excited, and we feel we're looking forward to it.
How is the gym? Are there gyms in the EIVA that can you're kind of compare to help prepare or physically and mentally prepared to play a match like that?
Yeah, I'd never been here before. We heard that the ceiling was really low, and so we looked at it on film and it looked a little low. It's not that low. I mean, certainly the old NJIT gym, and I should say the new NJIT gym is a $110 million masterpiece, which, you should check out if you have a chance. But the old NJIT gym was much lower. So, we've played in smaller gyms before, and it looks like a nice facility. And the people here have been incredibly just professional, and everything's set up really well. It definitely feels like an NCAA event. Their athletic director was here today, sort of shaking our hand and making sure everything was set up properly. And it's going to be a fun event. I mean, they said they think they're going to get a really nice crowd, and we think it's going to be great. So no, we're excited. It's really cool to be in the NCAA, no matter what the format or where we are, and we're just really excited to be here, and we think it's going to be a really cool opportunity.
And a couple more questions. Obviously, you said you watched some tape. What do you know about Borden? What challenges do they present?
They're a talented team who's won a lot. I think they're 25-4, something like that. And so, a team that wins a lot is used to winning, and that means they're incredibly competitive. And watching them play, they've got a couple of brothers I think they're from Greece, really strong opposite and left side L1. And they're a very pin-heavy team, but those pins are pretty dynamite. And so, obviously we watched their whole, stats and numbers through their own conference, which they were incredibly successful. But then watching teams that we know and that we've played and seeing how successful they were. They played George Mason, they played Harvard, they played USC, they played Grand Canyon. These are all teams either in our league or that we played this year or last year. And so, beating Harvard and, I think they beat Grand Canyon in 5 and they beat SC in 4. Mason beat them, I think, in 4. But, doing well against those teams like this, we know this is a very formidable team, and this is going to be it's going to be a dogfight tomorrow. So we're prepared for some really high-level volleyball, and we're excited to compete.
And finally, can you tell us one aspect of the game where you really think the match will be decided?
This sounds so cliche, but it's the truth. It's just serving and passing. That's, I think, at every level, but specifically, when you get into the higher, levels in men's volleyball Division 1, the team that can serve more consistently and aggressively and knock teams off the net, I think that helps everybody's blocking options. And the team that can handle the pass. I mean, most teams these days, if you pass the ball near your setter, you're going to have a pretty good chance to side out because the offenses across the board, especially at this level, are too strong. So I think it's going to come down to serve and pass. And so obviously being in a foreign gym and trying to acclimate today and tomorrow to that, I think, certainly they'll have an advantage there, but hopefully we can acclimate and we can give them a run.
Well, thank you for your time, and we wish you nothing but the best of luck tomorrow against Barton.
Thank you very much.